What the deal? Just finished work. I ate already, so you ain't going to see me smacking that much on camera. Took the time and opportunity to nourish myself. I'm kind of like, it's weird, because the weather's changing and it's getting so hot. Sleeping with the AC on, just being around people. I don't know, but I feel myself trying to come down with something, so my energy a little off. You know what I mean? But I haven't gotten like a major flu or majorly sick in a long time. And because I know, you know what I'm saying, I know my body, I know myself. As soon as I get to the crib, I'm gonna take my meds, drink my liquid and do all the stuff I gotta do. The things that I normally do preemptively because my nose feel like I can feel it all in my sinuses. But, I want to attack this and tackle this before it becomes an issue. And that's just the thing about life in general. You want to tackle stuff if you see it manifesting and happening early on, and if you leave it alone, it could become a worse problem. I think the goal is just handle stuff immediately when things start to happen. I think that's one of the things I regret as a student. Whenever I got projects, assignments, and homework and things like that, I felt like I was so intelligent. I was a pretty smart kid and I would get stuff done. I felt like I could always put stuff off to the last second and then do the work and get like a decent grade and I would still pass. But the only issue with that is that it just conditions you throughout life to be a procrastinator and to think you could put stuff off till the last second and then you can take care of it and it'll be okay. And you may get away with that growing up, but there comes a point in time where you need more than just procrastination to get the best results out of whatever it is that you're doing, And I'm still a procrastinator with a lot of things. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I was a major procrastinator for years. And I think a lot of that has to do with just how I conditioned myself coming up in school. You know what I mean? Just putting stuff off to the last second, but still getting a B minus. Whereas if I would have hopped on the project immediately, early, not only would I have gotten an A plus, but I would have still had time to chill instead of just chilling. And then it's like 2 days before the test. And now I'm like super stressed. I passed the test or whatever, but I get a B minus, sometimes a C, in some instances fail. But it's like I created all this stress on the back end when I could have just dealt with the stress extreme on the front end. And then, I was still a smart guy, a fast worker mentally. I would still finish my projects earlier, had the studying put behind me, and I could have just chilled in the back end. And that's just that's a life lesson in general. What up, Jennifer? Jennifer Campbell, finally somebody with a normal name. You know what I'm saying? For anybody that's in here, I ask if it's 80 of y'all, it's 90 of y'all in here. All of y'all do me a favor, just click that thumbs up, just so it can help put me in the algorithm and show that I'm consistent and I'm worth YouTube putting in mentions so that people can hop in. Because every day, Monday through Friday, weekdays, around this time, around 4:30 or so, I'm going to be on live, online, spitting that wisdom, spitting that ism, giving you my point of view, And just as I said that, it was 9 people that checked in. Now every single one of you have gone. But yeah, man, things are real delicate in society in America, man. Especially with the black community and the white community. It always seems like that. It's always something major that happens in America between a black person and a white person, and it becomes national news. When it's a white person versus a white person, normally we don't hear much about it. When it's a black person versus a black person, we definitely don't really hear about it like that. But when it's a white person versus a black person and there is death involved, it always makes national news. It always divides the country. It's always black versus white. Every single time. What's up, Slam? Your name is Slam with 10 M's. Steam user, you got deport. I don't know what that means. Camilla wrote this. But yeah, it's always that. And the Carmelo Anthony the case, just the whole, not even just the verdict, just the whole situation when teenagers have altercations. I was a teenager when y'all calling me uncle, whatever. But it's hard to believe, but you know, about 30 years ago, I was a teenager. I've seen plenty of altercations. I've been in an altercation myself. I've never seen anybody get killed in an altercation. I've heard of people that have gotten killed because of an altercation, meaning somebody get into a fight. And, you know, growing up, they always tell you, don't allow yourself to get bullied, fight back, blah, blah, blah. But I came up in the early 90s. Like in 1990, I was 11 years old, and I just moved from Pennsauken, New Jersey, which was the suburbs, to Hartford, Connecticut, which was the hood. And during that time, you know, I think the movie Colors came out before that. A lot of South Central, a lot of gangster movies was out around that time. And it was just gangs everywhere. And yes, you got to stand up for yourself, and you have to stand up to the bully. But back then, a lot of times, the people that stood up to the bully would turn around, get his crew, and they would kill. You know what I'm saying? They would take the life of the person trying to like defend their life, man. So sometimes nowadays, yeah, you got to stand up for yourself. But a lot of times, it's never just a fair fight, or we're gonna fight, shake hands, and become best of friends. I think that was a 70s thing, an 80s. And a 70s thing. Now, in the 80s, I was young. I you know what I'm saying? 1989, I was only 10 years old. I was a little kid. Yeah, I had fights and things like that. But I was really too young to understand the ramifications of getting into altercations and things of that. Like 10-year-olds wasn't dying from getting into fights. I didn't really start witnessing or hearing about death and things of that nature till like my 11, 12 years old, my early teens. That's when I started hearing about that. You said, do you agree with what Carmelo Anthony did? I agree. If somebody puts your hands on you, you never know how another person is going to react for you putting your hands on them. That's what I believe. In a vacuum, I feel like whatever a person does to you, you do the exact thing back to them. Somebody push you on your shoulder, you push them back on your shoulder. If somebody punch you in the face, you punch them back. If somebody bringing out the knife, you defend yourself with knives. I believe that everything should be a fair fight. You know what I'm saying? Or with equal force. But that being said, that's what I believe in a vacuum. That's what I believe ideally. But you never know how somebody's going to react when you breach their space and you put your hands on them. Do I agree of Carmelo Anthony taking somebody else's life just because they push him on the shoulder? No. I don't agree with that. But also, you never know how somebody is triggered once you touch them. So if we learn anything in this situation, it's two things, man. If you choose to breach somebody's space and put your hand on somebody, be prepared to deal with whatever it is you have coming to you. You just never know. And to me, this case is just a prime example. Never underestimate anybody. You never know what somebody's holding on to. You never know what somebody could potentially do to you. You can yap all you want. And especially these are teens try to get an adult to be involved, but nobody necessarily has the right to put their hands on somebody else, even if they're in your, like, you know, in your tent or whatever. Nobody has that right. But at the same token, if somebody does put their hand on you and touch you, you still have to show restraint. You got to be logical, and you have to always just run through your mind the potential of what could happen, given what my reaction is physically to this person putting their hands. Listen. It's been times I used to be in the clubs. I used to be drinking all the time, but I'm a stoic. I'm always thinking logically, and I'm a pacifist. If I have to fight, I will fight. I had a fist fight since I was 14 years old. No lie. That's about 30, 33 years. There's been instances I got punched, in the clubs, trying to protect women or whatever. Somebody, like, oh, this nigga hit me, you know what I mean? And then, people break it up, whatever. And I was never mad in those situations because I always think logically. I had no malice in my heart. It was like, it was a drunken situation. I chose to intervene and protect people. I got punched in the grill. If I didn't want to get punched in the grill, I shouldn't have intervened. But I was doing the right noble thing, trying to protect a woman. But it's like you put yourself in certain situations, you breach certain situations. I breached, I touched a dude like, yo, chill. Those my peoples. Pow. I felt like I was doing the right thing in that instance, but you never know how somebody's going to react when you breach their space and put your hands on them. You just never know. If we learn anything in this instance, children, keep your hands to yourself. Period. And this ain't victim blaming. This is because my heart truly goes out to him. He was, from what they were saying, based on the court case and transcripts or whatever, as far as what I heard, he was captain of the football team. There was a track meet, and during the track, when football season is over, people that run track, a lot of them, people that play football, a lot of them will do track as well, just to stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? So he said you met Carmelo 6 years ago. If you met Carmelo, what was his sentiment? Like his temperament? Because they trying to make it seem like he was all rah, like he went to the tent and basically saying, yo, your team ass. Well, we're trying to get out of the rain. So I guess his team didn't have a tent, so he wanted to get out of the rain. He goes under their tent. And then I hear he was badgering their team, your football team ass. I don't know. This is just what I'm hearing. And finally, Eric Metcalf was like, yo, you got to get out of here, man. And from what I heard, they told him to leave 15 times. And Carmelo was like, yo, if you put your hands on me, you don't want to do that. Don't put your hands on me. So he put his hands on me. The warning was given. And it's unfortunate what happened. And it was an extreme reaction to what happened. And I do not agree with that extreme reaction. He could just shove them right back. But, again, like I said, you never know how somebody's going to react when you breach their space. You just never know that. So if you don't know that and you don't want to be faced with whatever it is they're potentially going to do, keep your hands to yourself, man. Keep your hands to yourself. He'd probably be alive if that, you know what I mean? Like he never put his hand on his shoulder. But just like Carmelo Anthony probably would have never be in prison right now if he just never went into that tent. If he never had the knife on him. You know what I'm saying? If he just kept his cool. You know what, Bumpy? Hey, y'all don't want me in here. This ain't my tent. I'm out. Whatever. My football team gonna bust y'all ass. Y'all garbage. Y'all trash. Now you're saying he's always aggressive. Slam. This is what you're saying. You could be an internet troll. You could just be anybody online saying this. So I don't know how true this is or not. But one thing I do know is if you carry yourself with extreme aggression and a chip on your shoulder and you're not harnessing that, using that towards being a great football player, being a boxer or something like that, or if it's just unbridled energy and anytime something pop off, you want to be Tupac Shakur, we see what happened with Tupac. He was acting like, you know what I mean? Ever since he did the movie Juice, ever since he had that gun in his hand, he's a method actor. Ever since he became Bishop, he could never turn it off. And eventually that aggression, nobody gonna tell me nothing. I'm a freedom fighter. I'm gonna blah, 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 yeah, blah, 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 blah. That type of energy, man, is going to lead you down a certain path. There's nothing wrong with aggression if you're using it in a controlled manner in certain circumstances. Some of the baddest people on the planet are like monks and martial artists. They can take your life with their bare hands. You would never know it because they always carry themselves in a calm, cool demeanor. You see Michael Jai White? Michael Jai White is probably one of the most deadly men on the planet. But he writes comedies. He wrote Black Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? He writes funny, fictional things. He's a great, a good actor. He's a humor writer. He loves comedy. Always calm on the Vlad TV interviews and stuff like that. Great smile, pause. You know what I mean? But just nothing about him radiates that this dude could just kill me just like that. I mean, he's buff, but I'm just saying as far as his energy and his temperament and how he comes off. So having that loose cannon, braggadocious aggression, it's like having unstable chemicals in a beaker, man. It's constantly shaking. Eventually, it's going to explode. You want the chemicals to be still, man. I see fault on both sides. Don't put your hands on people. Don't overreact. It's two things. Why wasn't there more of an adult presence? I don't know all the circumstances. Maybe there were more adults. If there were more adults under that tent, the adults should have immediately intervened. Could have saved 2 lives. 2 lives are done. One life is gone forever. Like one life is gone. I don't believe in death in the traditional sense, but one life is already, their atoms are breaking down and it's being recycled into another form. That's what Eric Metcalf's situation is. And the other life, he got 35 years. Well, he got the possibility of parole. I think in Texas you got to do at least 50%. So he can get out, he can get paroled in 70 years. In a lot of those instances, he can get out like 15 years or 14 years and do like the last 3 like in a halfway house or something like that. He's 19, so 17 years from now, that's 30, that's 19, 29, that's 36 years old. Assuming that he doesn't get involved in anything major that's going to keep him there in prison. But yeah, man, you never know how somebody's going to react. You just never know, and it's just unfortunate. This happened between these two. They were children, dude. They were young kids. You don't want to see kids. I guess I've seen plenty of fights, but I never see kids like. I did see somebody get stabbed before. It was this bully. I'm laughing because he was like this big husky bear Spanish dude, mad big. He had to be 16, 17 years old. I forget his name. But he was big, yo, and he was bullying somebody, like 3 or 4 young cats, and they just jumped on his back. One dude had like a little poker and started poking him in his back. He said, "Yo, this dude's stabbing me, yo, he's stabbing me." He was like a bear, just throwing him off and like that. That was crazy, yeah. So I did see somebody get jugged up. I did see that, but he lived. He survived. Fortunately, he had a big back. He was the big back before the big back was a word. And he took all them, it took them licks, man. But I never heard of people dying from fighting, man. I haven't heard of that when I was young coming up. It's like the youth nowadays, they're afraid to take the loss. You're going to get an ad like, let's take the knife out of Carmelo Anthony's hands. They said that 4 people surrounded him and he was jumping and he got jumped. But people say the video doesn't corroborate that. Video has not been released yet. It's going to be released and then we'll see. He didn't have any injuries to indicate that he got jumped. You know what I'm saying? All the witnesses, all the witness testimony and the accounts are just saying him and Eric was going back and forth verbally. He's like, "Yo, put your hands on me. I'm warning you." He's like, what do you mean, dude? Get out of here. And it was like, they said it happened in one motion. Like as soon as Eric pushed him on the shoulder, he took the blade out, hit him in the chest. Bow. Like it just happened like one motion. Just like that could have easily just been a fist. He'd still be here, yo. Both of them still be alive. We just got beat up maybe suspended from school, maybe an expulsion, whatever. But Eric will still be alive. All will be well. But Eric breached the warning, and Carmelo overreacted. That's just what it is. And then, in light of what happened to the Rick Child situation, getting off for shooting a black kid in the back that was running away from his store, who didn't do anything but still ran in fear of his life. My thing, if you ain't do nothing, I don't really see the logic in running, but I don't know that whole circumstances of that story. Like if I didn't do nothing, if I didn't do anything, there's no point in me running away. I'm just walk like, hey, whatever. You can catch up to me, pat my pockets, you see there's nothing there, and I'm gonna get a lawsuit. That's it. That was an easy payday for the young man, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, people, when your flight or fight kicks in, that's exactly what happens. The fight kicked in with Carmelo. The flight kicked in with, I think his name is Cyrus. Yeah. And in both of those instances, those reactions, whether it's fight or flight, the flight cost the young man his life, and the fight cost Carmelo his freedom, and it cost Eric Metcalf his life. But this is another thing. Like a lot of my people, man, we get up in arms, and we wonder why the system is so unfair to black people and why it's not balanced. It's a simple answer, man. Because we are the away team. The away team never gets the calls. The away team never gets the benefit of the doubt. And if you know this, then you have to be extra vigilant and extra aware of how you play this game called life. You got to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of the people you're around. You have to be aware of your environments. You have to be around places that you're comfortable with, that people that are comfortable with you, if you can be in those situations, man. You got to think first before you react. Because it could be your last moment, your last day, your freedom could be in the balance. Just because you had an impulse, emotional reaction, man. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying what it is. I see fault in both parties. But you got to realize, man, if you're a black man, a black person in America, especially a black man, we are not the home team, man. We aren't. We're not going to get the calls. We're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. So we have to be innocent beyond a shadow of a doubt, and we have to carry ourselves as such. Don't run away if you ain't got nothing to run away for. Don't run. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be in atmospheres that you ain't invited with a bunch of individuals that you don't know. Setting yourself up, man. You never know how it can go sideways, bro. We are the away team in this situation, man. We have to conduct ourselves accordingly. I use this analogy. In the 90s, 2 different times the Chicago Bulls was dominating 3 different three-peats. From 91, 92, and 93, they got a three-peat. And then 95, 96, 97. Or 96, 97, 98, they got a three-peat. At the United Center, which is their arena, their basketball home court, they got the majority of the calls on their home court, man. So when Patrick Ewing in the Knicks, John Starks, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, who else? Derek Harper. I used to love that team too. I was low-key, I was a Knicks fan on the low. Even though I like the Magic, but I always kind of rock with the Knicks on the low. I did. Because my boy Matt rocked with the Knicks. But I always used to like Starks, man. That was one of my favorite players, man. And Derek Harper, defense. Anthony Mason had handles, the power. He was like a small forward. Charles Oakley, hard nose, had the set jumper from the corner, getting rebounds, playing defense on the big men. You know, Patrick Ewing, man, post-up game, could run the floor like a deer, had a mid-range game like crazy. They were well beloved in Madison Square Garden, but when it came time for them going to the United Center, they wasn't getting no calls, yo. Not like Michael Jordan. When the calls came down to between Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan 9% of the time. Why? Floor. Michael Jordan could provoke Patrick Ewing, do something grimy to him that the refs don't really see. Provoke Patrick Ewing to punch him in the face. Even though he's the one that triggered it, they're still going to call Patrick Ewing for the flagrant foul. He's the one that's going to get the bulk of the trouble. Why? Because he's not on his home court, man. This isn't our home court. And the justice is never going to be balanced until it's a situation where we are on our turf and our territory. And until it becomes that, this is how it's always going to be. I'm not giving solutions. I'm just telling you what it is. Because it's just exasperating for people to keep wondering why the balance rarely tips in our favor. Rarely tips in our favor. Rarely goes in our direction. And they try to compare things to it that are false equivalencies. They try to compare the Kyle Rittenhouse to Carmelo Anthony. They're both the same age. They both was in a place that they shouldn't have been. They both brought a weapon to a situation. You know, Carmelo Anthony killed 2 people and injured 1 person. Like basically shot their arm off. And I mean, not Carmelo Anthony, Kyle Rittenhouse. And Carmelo Anthony took this young man's life. But those situations are false equivalencies because, and I'm just going off of a statement. I'm just going off of what's out there. They said Kyle Rittenhouse. The only reason why he was there because I think a friend of his family, they owned a car dealership, so they wanted to protect the car dealership from looters. And it's not illegal for a team to have a rifle in that state. You know what I'm saying? And when he was there, you know, people was badgering him. It's on video. He got hit with a skateboard, and people was shooting at him and chasing him. Carmelo Anthony situation, he was at a track meet, it was raining, he goes into a tent, he's carrying a knife on him. Now, from what I'm hearing from different reports, he's gotten in trouble for carrying knives before. I don't know how true this is, I'm just telling you what I heard. So, you know, some people always got a blade on them. I've known people like that. Some people always got a little jug on them. You know what I'm saying? And he's in the tent, has a verbal altercation, dude puts his hands on him, he jugs him. You can't compare somebody touching your shoulder telling you to leave to getting hit in the head with a skateboard and getting shot at with a gun. There's no comparison, man. For people to put those two things together, it's a false equivalency, man. Like, I know people want things to be a certain way, but you got, like, regardless of how you want something to be, you can't ignore the facts just to make yourself feel better, just to justify your anger. That's just not right. That's not right to the kids. That's not right to the kid that's in jail, and that's not right to the kid that passed away. Kyle Rittenhouse was on the verge of death when somebody shot at him. You're getting pushed on your shoulder, you're not on the verge of death, man. And if somebody asks him to leave 15 times, if this is true, he had the opportunity, man. Just leave. Lump it. I never want to be around like individuals that don't want to be around me. I am more than happy to vacate the premises. I don't have to be around you. But it's just unfortunate, man. You know? Like I said, I see blame between both parties. I see a resolution between how the whole thing, if there's no knife, the whole thing is over. If you don't touch him, the whole thing is over. If you don't go under the tent, the whole thing is over. If Eric gets some adults in here, the whole thing is over. There's so many ways that it could have stopped, man, but all young children can do is look at this situation, let it serve as a roadmap and an example. When you're faced with something similar, if you had a track meet, I don't care if you black, white, whatever, you had a track meet, and it's not your tent, I don't care if it's raining, man. Don't go under there. Don't go in foreign territory. Don't be the away team in the home team space. Just don't do it. White, black, Asian, whoever. Just don't do it. I'm the type, like, I'm a 49ers fan. But if the 49ers ever came to, if I ever decided to watch them play the Patriots or like the Giants, the Jets, or the Eagles, these are all teams, or the Bills, all teams that's relatively close to where I live, I would never wear that jersey in the opposing stadium. I just won't. Because after the game is over, like we win or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I got my back turned. I'm just chilling. I don't drink, but I'm sipping on a seltzer or something like that. And all of a sudden, somebody just hit me in the back of the head. Like, what happened after the Knicks game? The dude, the Knicks fan, he picked up like a sign and just smashed somebody over the head like a Spurs fan with it. Like, something crazy. Listen, I'm not going to be the away team, have on this away jersey in this hostile home environment. Anything can happen to me with me not seeing it coming. I'm just not going to do that. So just be conscious of that. Be conscious of your surroundings. Be conscious of your environment. If you're a black person, definitely know you're never going to get the fair shake. So you got to be extra, 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 extra on point with your head on a swivel. The whole goal is to try to get home in one piece, man. You got to prove it. Like, now, if it's life or death, you try to defend yourself, that's different. But just some words and a little shove, you got it. Whatever. I got punched in the face in the club. Wow. Oh! Wasn't even mad. Saw the dude the next week. Yo, man, I know you was drunk last week. No hard feelings. Whatever. Shook hands. That's it. Kept it moving. Shook hands. Kept it moving, man. I remember when I was young, when I was 14, I had a fight with a kid. Still, it was my fault because I was play fighting with him, and he was drinking when we was like 13. He got mad, punched me in my face. Pow! I bump this. Got the fighting or whatever. But it's like, it was my fault because I started it, even though his reaction was way more than what it should have been. But again, you never know how somebody's going to react when you put your hands on them. You just never know. So don't put your hands on nobody. You see, I'm holding accountability on both sides. So the next day, he pissed. He got the mad face. He's sitting on the porch, like, because we used to live across the street from each other. And I felt bad. I've always been a compassionate person. So eventually I was like, yo, I shouldn't have, man, I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have played around with you like that. That's my fault, blah, blah, blah. He was pissed. I was like, you know what? We cool, yo. And then we just shook hands and that's it. But I could have been like steaming, like, you know what? This dude, I'm just playing around. He punched me in my face. And he was about to beat me up because, like, somehow he was on top of me. He's about to ground and pound me. My homeboy pulled him off of me. I was about to be, woo. That was about to be ugly for me, man. You know what I'm saying? But he pieced it up just like that. Shook hands, whatever, man. Children are so afraid to take the L, the loss nowadays. That's why it's like they rather kill somebody than potentially just get a tune-up, man. Like how the world got like this, man. I mean, I know a lot about the Bible, even though I don't adhere to it, but there's so much wisdom and practicality. But in the scriptures, I forget exactly where. I think it's in John when it talks about the last days, but it says the greater love will cool off. The greater love in the last days, the greater love will cool off, meaning overall, it's like love isn't as effervescent as it used to be. Like people, that's why people just have such a willingness to just take each other's lives over things that could be simply settled, man. And it's just sad and it's just unfortunate. And I hope if any lesson comes out of this that people can take, young people especially, is just to know, man, just be more, try your best to just be more patient and think things through in times of conflict, man. Because you don't want to get sentenced for 35 years over something that's relatively minor, man. You don't want to lose your life just because you lightly put your hands on somebody, man. You know, it's very unfortunate. Hopefully, a lot of our people could just wake up and not use this as a motivation to just hate the opposite race. And you know what I'm saying? These are just two people in a vacuum, even though there's a lot of factions on both sides that are pissed off at each other. And then there are certain powers that be that just benefit off of human beings being divided and just always warring with one another. We got bigger fish to fry, man. It's very unfortunate that this happened. I think there should be more of an adult presence at these track meets to circumvent these types of situations. If there needs to be more security as a deterrent, if they need to start having metal detectors to make sure children aren't bringing in weapons, that's what it has to be, man. Because people see stuff like this, and then there's copycats. Now, are more kids going to start having weapons on them? And then some people will feel justified. Well, somebody touched me, that gives me the right to kill him. That's the message that would have been sent if he was. Some people say that's the message that would have been sent if Carmelo Anthony got off as innocent and the self-defense, his self-defense defense. Is that how you say it? Self-defense testimony, not testimony. You know what I'm trying to say, though. His self-defense reasoning held up. Like, man, I could just kill people, all I gotta say was I was defending myself. But that's an excuse that a lot of people that aren't black, that have taken black people's lives, that's the exact excuse that they use, and it's worked for a lot of them. But I keep telling y'all, that is their home court advantage. The referee is going to give them the calls. So it's always going to be like that. So you got to play the game accordingly, man. Don't let this be a dimmer to your day, your week. I know it's easier said than done. Men's Mental Health Month. My boy Keenan just did a video about black men just speaking, take care of their mental health in light of the Carmelo Anthony case situation and Rick Child getting off situation. And he threw a funny one in there. And the New York Knicks losing, that was funny. This is what the media wants you to do. They want you to live in fear. They want you to live in anger. They want you to go to war with each other, civil war. Because if we out in the streets and we fighting each other and we killing each other over stuff that we're seeing on social media and over things that are happening in court, the things that they choose to show us, because there are plenty of innocent people dying left and right at the hands of each other, like white on white, black on black. But that's not salacious enough. That doesn't sell news. But if we let all the news that they choose to give us trigger us and make us hate the whites and make the white hate the black and we start killing each other, you know what's going to happen? Martial law. Then we're going to lose all our rights. And in some ways, it feels like that's what the powers that be are trying to push. We gotta be conscious of that, man. Stay on point, man. You know what I'm saying? And as I tell all my young and up and coming comedians, there's no such thing as writer's block. If the comedy gods have not given you anything new to scribe on that page, it is their way of telling you to work on the material that they already gave you. Stay away from the gossip. Stay away from the rumors. Stay away from the nonsense. Stay away from the negativity. Stay away from the foolishness. Focus on the funny and lead with love. Life is not something that happens in spite of you. Life is an experience for you to behold. So get to beholding. That being said, man, I know it's kind of somber. Hopefully the Knicks win tonight. And, we're just going to be on a more positive note, but this just really hit my heart, and I had to talk about it. Rest in peace to Mr. Metcalf, and keep your head up to Carmelo Anthony. My heart goes out to both families. Peace.